Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for finding the Common Tangent, episode 9. We have a quick announcement and take it away, Soul.
The Common Tangent episode 10 is going to be live on Twitch June 8th at 7 p.m. Central, and it's going to be our season 1 finale. So if you've been meaning to catch a live episode, this is the one to be there for. We'd absolutely love to celebrate the end of the season with all of you live in chat. After that, we're taking a little summer break to recharge, reset, and come back even better, and we truly hope you'll join us again for season 2 this fall. Be sure to have your alerts on so you don't miss the live finale.
We hope to see you there and hope you enjoy episode 9.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Common Tangent, the podcast where conversations are cozy, the tangents are unavoidable, and somehow we always end up talking about the most random things imaginable. Today's topic is all about cozy core, what makes something feel safe, comforting, relaxing, and just good for the soul. Whether it's comfort games, rainy days, childhood nostalgia, warm drinks, emotional support hoodies, or those oddly specific little routines that make life feel a little softer, we're diving into all of that today. And honestly, I feel like this is one of those topics everybody connects to in a different way. So I'm really excited to see where these tangents go. As always, I'm joined by my amazing hosts, Annie and RJ.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
How are you guys doing today?
I would say a little cozy, to be honest with you.
That's good to hear.
A little relatable, but I'll take it.
Right. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm just settling in.
That's good. That's good because this is going to be a nice, gentle topic today. So to start it off, what's the very first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word cozy?
A warm blanket.
Ooh.
Yes.
I love like similar thought processes, only mine turned into a full-on scene. I got warm blanket sitting in an armchair by the fire with little glass of brown alcohol. I blame Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
You blame Steve Harvey.
Well, I grew up in the DC area, and the Brown Liquor song was like a thing that he always did on the radio, and every time I would kind of go into that headspace, and that would be the scene, and it was just always the most like chill, relaxing, and cozy thing to me.
That's funny.
Very fair.
Like when I climb into bed, usually the blankets are a little bit cold or it's just not warm just yet. But when you pull out a blanket from the dryer and like say like there's 3 or 4 blankets in there and you're about to fold them, one of them gets tossed on you when you're on the couch. And I just want to like just roll up in a ball and just let it warm me up a little bit.
That's nice. I think for me, cozy is always a cup of coffee, hot when it's cold outside and cold when it's hot outside, as would make perfect sense. And then settled in, like my legs tucked in underneath me, sitting on the couch. Like for me, that is just cozy.
I got a stupid question for you before we get too far. When you're sitting there with your legs underneath, do they ever get too stiff when you go to stand up?
Yes, but I don't usually know till I try to stand up. And then we have problems.
Yeah. I mean, it's comfortable. Don't get me wrong, because I sit on my leg all the time. But yeah, then I'm comfortable. And then when I go stand up, I'm like, why did I do that?
That's the reason why I can't sit cross-legged anymore. My ankle like tries to go away from me. It's bad. So as soon as I try to stand up, it's like I'm not gonna finish that sentence. But I don't want to gross people out. It's funny because y'all remind me of my partner, because she does that where she'll kind of contort into like the funniest of ways, and it's comfortable for her, and I'm sitting here like, how's that comfy for you?
Yeah, I've fallen asleep, and this is really sad, and I know we probably all have kind of done it before, but in our like gamer chairs, you put your like feet up and you fall asleep, and you kind of wake up and you're like, oh, and then you get up really fast and you realize you're just about to hit the floor because your both legs are asleep, and there's no way that that's stable enough to stand up at the time. I just like, as you get older, it affects you a little bit more than I never had before.
That is fair. I think maybe the weird positions being comfortable is a female thing, because I've noticed with watching gamers and people who do IRL streams and stuff like that, the girls are always sitting like twisted or cockeyed, or the legs underneath them or up on the desk to the side. And guys
Mhm.
are always just sitting in a chair, like normal.
I mean, it's possibly true. I mean, like, to be honest with you, I'm kind of that way where I kind of sit kind of like conform differently, or when I sit there and eat dinner table, like I'm always like cross-legged because it's easier for me to lean forward to eat over my plate and stuff. When I'm sitting at the chair, like, yeah, my legs are like just spread and just comfortable and comfy. That's a
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, yeah, there's definitely a difference between guys and gals on how we like to sit when we are all cozied in. But that does lead into kind of the first part of the topic of humans naturally seek comfort in safe places, even in tiny everyday ways. What is your personal definition of cozy?
Ooh, Ani, you want to take this one first?
I think my definition of cozy, it encompasses warmth, safety, security. It also, in a way, kind of indulges my inner child a little bit. And I think I think for me, it's just the idea of kind of going back to a simpler time. Yeah, that's what I got so far.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it's more of the heart. I think it's more of like feeling comfortable, feeling what you're saying, like security blanket kind of thing. It's feeling like you're safe and secure and, a little bit comfortable, which kind of where it comes from, comfy or cozy or all those adjectives that you can describe the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it's hard to describe a word without using its word itself. For me, cozy is stillness.
Mm.
Like, because I have ADHD, everything's always going in my brain and everything's always going around me. I have 8 animals and a teenager and my partner. Like, so something's always like going. But when I can be in a room or in my living room, or even it used to be even in my car on the way home, when it's just still is when I feel cozy.
Do you ever feel like you strive in the chaos since you're so used to it?
Do I strive? Probably not. Do I function? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like I have 2 kids as well and jobs and, all the kind of crazy stuff that we do, obviously podcasts and all that kind of stuff. But when everything's going on, it just feels like, okay, I'm going to go, I'm going to do this. My brain is going, let's get all this stuff done. And then when everything is done, yeah, I feel like cozy or comfy or whatever, but my brain doesn't slow down because it's so used to that chaos that I don't know how to settle it down. So I guess when it finally does kind of relax and settle down, like right before bed, or when I'm just kind of like sitting there when nothing's going on or whatever, I do feel comfortable and I do feel cozy. But then again, I want to get up and do something because I'm so used to it, I guess, after so many years of just go is the reason why I'm kind of asking that question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, on that, are there any things that make a space feel safe or comforting, like outside of that, once you're outside that chaos, or a smell that immediately calms you down, a sound that feels extremely comforting? Are there any things specific that lead into moving from that chaos into that comfort, cozy feeling?
I can think of a few, but Ani?
I can lead in on with that. For
Yeah.
me, it's instantly smelling fresh baked goods gives me that desire to get that cup of coffee and curl up on the couch and tuck my legs in and just sit in a still, quiet room with a piece of freshly baked cake or a fresh cookie. Rain does not do it for me. Rain, ocean sounds does not do it for me. Birds chirping, instant comfort.
Oh,
Instant.
that's interesting.
Interesting.
I like that because I mean I'm like I said, it's so funny how sometimes we're the opposite, because I've been to Hawaii before and sleeping in a room somewhere where I was doing military stuff, and you listen to the waves come in, like it was easily like put me to sleep. And then sometimes when the crazy kids are going downstairs and messing around making a bunch of noise, I can do the ocean sounds and then it just puts me to sleep. So helps me zone out. I don't know if it makes me feel comfortable or cozy. It's like a drowning out. So it helps me sleep, I guess.
Maybe
When you're
because
talking,
it's rhythmic.
maybe that's what it is. Yeah, that could exactly be what it is, to be honest. But when you're talking about like smells, I'm like, I have a history, and I won't go into detail on too much of this podcast because I can burn like 3 hours on this topic. But when you feel like something is not right, where you're feeling like anxiety or you're feeling like something that doesn't like feel right, if I smell something that brings me back to a memory that makes me happy. I like cinnamon rolls or hot fudge. I think there's a whole big story behind that I can go into, but those smells bring me back to a time where I didn't have to pay for my cell phone bill or pay for a house or do all these kind of things that I remember when I was a kid, because my grandma used to make them and all that kind of stuff every time we went over to visit the house. That was just her go-to. It was just always cinnamon rolls and hot fudge over ice cream, and it was just something that you just forget about everything in the world when you kind of smell something like that, or when something triggers you to remember a memory, because then you just, everything in front of you, all the drama, all the stuff that's around you just kind of like disappears, and you just remember something good, and then it kind of floods back eventually, and you have to deal with it. But at that one moment, you're just kind of like, oh, that smell just brings back that one memory that can ground me at any time. Yep.
I can appreciate that. That is really, really nice. What about
Yeah.
you, Ani?
Yeah, it took me a while. So I think for me, one of the biggest scent markers I think that can bring me back to kind of chill is I believe it's balsam fir.
Ooh, that's a good
I-
one.
All I just remember, I'm pretty sure it's balsam fir. All I know is that the Christmas season comes around and those candles come out. I kid you not, I try to stock up on them every time, because it's probably one of the it's probably one of my favorite scents that I have, aside from Yangling. I can
Yingling?
never say it. Thank you.
Yangling.
That one.
Yeah,
That one.
Yangling.
That one.
Yangling. Yingling.
That one, yeah.
Ying yang, I don't know.
Right. Because that one kind of smells like candy, depending on the way the way that you get the scent is. Like, I have thing from Bath and Body Works, cream, and the Yingling in that smells like more like candy and sweet versus like floral, whenever it's like a essential oil. But I digress. Going back to the balsam fir thing, that is definitely one of those scents that I feel kind of returns me back to things whenever I start getting really amped up. I'm surprised about the birds chirping thing, because I cannot relate. I mean,
It's got to be the pitch.
maybe.
Is it the pitch?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
yes,
the pitch.
Yes.
If it's a
I
morning
like-
dove, sure.
Yeah.
But anything else, like a chickadee, no.
Like if I'm sitting on the back
Well,
porch,
a
and
pigeon
having-
doesn't do it
Yeah,
for me.
It's not a pigeon. I mean, if I'm sitting on the back porch and just kind of like having a discussion and birds are chirping, it's not a big deal. But if I'm trying to sleep, because I'm a day sleeper, not a night sleeper, and
yeah.
I'm trying to fall asleep and all the birds outside my window are chirping, it's definitely the high pitch for sure.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I fall asleep to birds chirping. I put it on my phone.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
awesome. That's awesome.
Crazy people.
And
Yeah,
wind.
for-
In a good
I
way.
like the
In a
sound
good
of
way.
wind.
I mean, okay, so I can get behind the wind thing, but I think it's just because I'm the nature person, or a nature person. That's also the kind of the backwards thing too, because you're like, can't do rain, but the ocean waves and stuff like that. I can do ocean waves and I can do rain. Rain is it actually depends on the rain. Like, if it's rain on a tin roof, then oh my god, nails on a chalkboard. But if it's just, rain on concrete or pavement or whatever, that actually works pretty well for me. Oh, wait, I just remembered this too. The smell of wet dirt.
Yes. Wet desert dirt is prime.
I can deal with that. Yep.
Like that, you just pulled a whole bunch of memories back, Annie. Like, that is a prime, unable to be bottled, candled scent. Like, there's nothing
Yes.
like it.
Oh god, core memory unlocked.
Yeah. If I was to bring out memories from that, unfortunately, it brings me back to like deployments and things like that. But I've had some good moments on deployments that are not always bad. So those good moments do pop up for that smell for sure.
Well, I lived in the desert for 30 years. So, that once a year rain that you would get.
that once
Oh my
a
gosh,
year.
nothing. That once a year rain. It was one time a year, and it was always during summer. It would smell so good.
Did you live in the area where
Yeah.
they talk about dry rain? Have you ever heard of that phrase before?
No, I've never heard of that phrase.
So
It might
dry rain.
be a
When-
thing. We just call it something different.
So dry rain, when I was at one of my TDYs, I don't remember what it was. I think it was Nevada somewhere. Arizona. I don't remember, somewhere in there. And they called it dry rain. They said it was going to dry rain today. I was like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. But when you look up, you could see it rain but it would be gone before it would even
Yes,
hit the
it would
ground.
evaporate before yes, it
Yeah.
would evaporate so fast. Yeah, so that's the same desert, Mojave Desert
That's
that
crazy.
I
Yeah.
lived in. Yes.
That was insane to look up and see the rain, but it never gets to you. I'm like, what?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Where now I have the
wild.
opposite in Ohio. It can be like sunny out and there's no clouds, but it will be so humid. It can rain with just the amount of humidity in the air. Like there are like dewdrops in the air.
So does rain.
Welcome to
so-
the East Coast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We don't have the sun out with no clouds and it rains. We have the wait an hour, it's going to rain. Wait an hour, it's going to be sunny. Wait an hour, it's going to snow. Wait an hour, and there's a tornado somewhere.
Oh,
you never know
I
I was
what's
gonna
going
say
on.
you're too, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah, we're-
lived in Florida, and then so living in 3 different places along the eastern seaboard has been the most interesting experience, because you go south where I lived in Florida and it's like humid as all get out. You could literally like practically drown from the humidity. And they have the saying, you don't like the weather in Florida, wait 10 minutes, it'll change. Going to Virginia, then it's all temperate and pretty, for the most part, moderate. You get 4 seasons and everything. And then coming up to Vermont, which is the complete polar opposite of freaking Florida, where everything's just dry
That's
and
crazy.
cold whenever it's the winter, of course. But then it's the same thing, because our weather is very much the same way, where it's like, wait 10 minutes, it'll change if you don't like it. Only difference is, instead of humidity, you're dealing with snow.
So with all
Yeah.
the 3 different areas you've lived, like since our topic is as comfy, cozy, does that change in the areas where you lived? Or is it the same concept where the same things can make you comfy or cozy in the 3 areas that you lived? Or does it change?
It definitely changes. It definitely changes. I am so kind of bringing in an interesting aside here. Someone once asked me, it gets a little bit morbid, but someone once asked me the sort of extreme thing in terms of like, if you'd rather be like extremely cold or extremely hot sort of thing. Basically, like if you passed, would you rather pass from being too cold or being too hot? And I went with the whole being too hot situation, because there's only so many clothes you could put on to try to stay warm. And if that doesn't work, then you're kind of SOL. But at least whenever it's hot, at least, I mean, you could go down to your birthday suit and then you could just have fun being in delirium.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I agree. I agree with you. I would rather be sweating than shivering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
It definitely changes depending on the climate. So if I'm down in Florida and all the humidity and all that, cozy is sitting in front of that nice AC after you've done come in, and especially because humidity and you sweat and all that. So I would come in after work, and I would sit in front of my AC for like a solid 20 minutes. And it was almost like I was basically getting like air dried, but it was the coziest thing after just being so hot. And then it's almost like that, what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost that climate regulation thing.
I can see that.
Okay. Yep. I could see that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
I do need
whenever
to
it comes
clarify.
the
I
cold-
prefer a desert heat, a dry, hot heat
Oh, yes.
versus a wet, humid heat.
For sure.
Because these Ohio summers, I go outside and I'm like, I am wet for just existing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do not like to be
exactly.
wet in areas I don't want to be wet in anymore.
Right. Everyone asks me, why do you wear so many dresses? I'm like, because everything sticks.
Yeah. I think if I lived over there, if it was that humid, I would learn what a kilt would be and see if it would look good on me. Because I would try it.
Yeah.
For
Fair.
sure.
Kilts
For
are
sure.
very
Fair.
comfy.
For sure.
Very fair.
Kilts are very comfy and very cozy.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be. Very cooling too. To switch perspectives, comfort media often becomes an emotional support during stressful periods in life. What games feel like a comfort game to you? Is there a show or a movie that you rewatch when stressed? Is there a fictional world you would rather live in for comfort to escape the stress and chaos of life? Are you a doom scroller? What does it for you when you turn to media, social media type stuff?
This one's a tough one because I don't want to get into certain topics on this podcast, but there is a doom scrolling videos I watch on YouTube that make me feel smarter than some people in the world. I'm not going to go into why, but it just makes me feel like, oh, I understand why people do this, people do that, but the reason why I do the things that I do kind of thing.
Yeah.
I have this, I don't talk about this too much. I don't think I've ever talked about this on stream too much either. I have this weird, what word I'm looking for, but I'll just say craving for magic. And it sounds really weird, but like going into watching people, Penn and Teller does a really good show that says like, it's called Fool Us. And they go through and they do all these magic things to try to fool them. And then like, if they fool them, I feel good about it. But then I would go back to a previous podcast we're talking about. It's like the curiosity, like, do I just want to be fooled and be happy with it? Or do I want to know how the trick is done? And to be fair, I feel more comfortable knowing the trick of how it's done after I've been fooled versus knowing the trick before I'm showed the trick. So I kind of watch these videos of like, oh, I show this like street magic when they do this, and this guy walks over to this dead fly and puts him in his hand and kind of hold on to him for a little bit, and then opens his hand and the fly flies off, and I'm like, what? Like, you found a dead fly on the side of the floor or whatever, and then you freed them, and then come to find out I know how the trick is done, and it's staged, and was fun to watch, and it makes me feel comfortable watching them do all these tricks, but then makes me feel a little bit better knowing how the trick is done. It's just weird. It's how my brain works is like, I like to know the secret sauce after the fact, not before. So those kind of things I watch over and over again. As far as TV shows, movies, things like that, I could watch certain movies, certain shows to go to sleep in because I've seen it so many times. I have it in the background because I know that's what my wife does. She'll read a book and she'll have like a movie going and she'll roll over and the sleep timer's on and she'll just fall asleep to a movie. Those kind of things don't bother me at all. I don't mind watching things like that. She watches like Sleepless in Seattle and a few other movies I can think of, but those kind of movies, can be easily played over and over again. Games wise, I don't think I have a cozy game, to be honest with you.
Fair. Yeah. That's fair. So to watch the illusion and enjoy the moment and then going back and learning how they did it, that's something you like to do that will pull you out of some stress and bring you to a cozy space.
So. Yeah, because it's a good distraction.
Very nice.
I mean, like when you sit there and back in the day, it was like a card game where I learned, and there's one card trick that I'm really, really good at. And when I fool the kids, they forget everything that's going on. It's like the magic of magic. It just takes you away from the world and gets you amazed and makes you forget. So in this instance, if there's a way for me to just forget about the drama, forget about everything around me for a minute, like going to the theater, watching a movie for 2 hours, you forget what's going on outside the movie theater. You're just engulfed in that movie. And then afterwards, you have to deal with it, of course. But anything that can distract me, anything that can take me away from my mind, from working so hard, I'm game. Give that to me every day.
The spectacle is actually reminds me, so doing my research and stuff for like film and TV things, because I've been doing a lot of writing lately, and I actually got into looking at the trends of like film and theater and such over the last, I think it was like 5 years, I think. And one of the things that actively came out was that, and this is the advent of COVID and all that, mind you, too, but the idea that people, whenever it comes to entertainment these days, no longer, it doesn't matter necessarily the content anymore, but people are drawn to that spectacle and experience that immerses you into the content. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. And when people say that they're burnt out on like superhero movies and things like that, I watched Endgame in a 4D theater in Kuwait. And with everything going on, we got released to leave base to go see the movie. And I forgot where I was. I literally forgot where I was. And I watched the movie. There's a character in there that dies after he snaps his fingers. For those that have never seen the movie, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but something happens. And I lost my mind. And I look around and everybody around me has tears in their eyes because I did too. And it takes you away from the world. No matter where you're located. I mean, I was thousands of miles away from my family. I was thousands of miles away from my cozy bed, the warm blanket, but I forgot where I was at. And that helped me a lot. And it just makes a difference. It does.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. What about you, Annie?
Well, I can definitely say my cozy is a little funny. So video games wise, because that one's easier for me, I am naturally drawn to basically like the typical cozy game sort of experience. And by that, I'm talking about games like, I use the example of Stardew Valley, but I've honestly never played it. But there's another game that's very similar to it called Sunhaven that I really enjoy. Kind of more like anime sort of style in terms of like art and things like that. So maybe I think that's why I gravitate to it. And similar mechanics, you go to this village and you're making a home and you can farm and dungeon dive, and it's just getting caught up in that sort of slice of life setting definitely is very cozy for me. So yeah, Sunhaven's definitely one of those nice cozy games that I could just kind of retreat to. Other ones, there's one coming out soon, July if I remember correctly, called Moonlight Peaks. So excited for that, just because of the fact that one, it's gothic, and two, it looks very similar to Animal Crossing to me. So that one I'm excited for. Movies, I don't really have a comfort movie necessarily. I know me and my partner right now are rewatching the entire series of Once Upon a Time.
Oh, me too.
That's a
My friend and I are watching it.
That's a great show.
Yeah.
It's a great show.
Yep.
It is. We're on season 2 right now, if memory serves correct. And that I forgot how into the show I actually really was, because now it's become a thing where, come home from work and just veg out, watch like an episode or two, depending on how much we could get in, go and make dinner, and then we just come right back in and hop into the show. And we have our dog that will lay at the edge of the bed with us, and we just vibe like that for the rest of the night. Great wind down, cozy, everything.
I feel like this could be a whole separate podcast of what we're watching and what we're enjoying. I feel like
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Stay tuned, everybody.
Exactly.
Stay tuned.
But if we're gonna toss those out too, it's not really cozy. But again, like I said, my cozy is kind of weird. But the show Lucifer,
Okay.
I can see that.
and I think it's just because like I really enjoy Lucifer as like the show itself is pretty kind of meh to me, because it comes off very procedural, like any other sort of like buddy cop type deal.
Scripted show.
But
Yeah.
exactly. But for me, it's the character that really just like draws me in, because I mean it's that character, and there's just something sort of like the charismatic, off-putting, that kind of draws me out of any sort of anxieties or anything that's going on in the world, and I just get to watch his antics, and I'm like, yes.
All right, Soul, your turn.
I can rewatch Reba, the show, on
Hey.
repeat.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Just-
Yeah, it's a good show.
Turn it on, let it go. Their voices all together, even though it's like family chaos and it's bickering or picking on each other or excitement or sadness, their voices all work together so cohesively. That show can make anything that I am doing or have to do not chaotic. And I don't know, maybe it's because I discovered it when my little was just born and an infant. That's when I kind of started watching series of shows. That's when I started watching Once Upon a Time and rewatching the episodes, especially the first season, because she had just been born when that came out. And I will get flashbacks of just sitting on the couch and her sleeping on me, or, her being in her bassinet and me having my cup of coffee and legs tucked under me sitting on the couch. Like, it was a moment in my life that was just comfortable and cozy. So it would automatically bring me back to that. I also find cozy reading or listening to an audiobook that is a psycho thriller, because I can completely get engrossed in it and listen to the story and finish whatever I'm doing, just because it's usually a soft story leading up to the climax point, and then it's just like, oh, I didn't guess that, or I did guess that. It's such For me, it's such a cozy feeling. As for doom scrolling, I'm weird. I'm a little different. Sometimes I think I have some elderly woman soul in my body. I watch videos of people quilting,
That's
sewing
peaceful, actually.
videos.
I mean,
It
it's
is.
very peaceful. It's repetitive. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So it's the same thing when I'm sewing. Like I completely zone out and I end up a half hour of sewing is the best 2 hours into a 6 hour chill out time for me. Because that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
it ends up
So
being.
I got two pieces for you then, Soul. Just because you talked about the whatchamacallit, the psycho thriller thing. I'm actually working on a project right now that I think you would be intrigued by. I don't remember if I actually told you about it or not already. Thinking about it. I don't know. I'll bring it up later. But the second thing is thank you for unlocking a core memory for me. Because you were talking
You're
about the
welcome.
quilting. You're talking about the quilting, and it just brought the scene of this elderly woman sitting in a rocking chair, just quilting away. And then flash ahead, but flash back to me being a kid and getting my hair braided and actively just like falling asleep.
Because it's not my culture at all. I could probably not fall asleep doing. I can fall asleep during a tattoo, so maybe the same concept. But I would like you to expand more on that because nostalgia can connect us to simpler feelings and remind us of who we used to be, and that core memory ties in really well with that.
Yeah. So whenever I was younger, I had a lot more hair. I had a very big afro. I like to tell people the story all the time about how I forgot to tell my mom that I had picture day coming up, and I used to get braids in my hair all the time. And it was like 8 o'clock at night, so obviously all shops are closed. And the woman that I normally get my hair braided by was, of course, not available. And I just go, "Hey, mom, by the way, I have pictures tomorrow." Regret.
As do all children.
So wake up, oh dark 30 the next morning, and she's, blow drying my hair out and hot combing it. And then I get a picture of me looking tired as hell with a big old 70s afro off of my head. It was great. But the cozy, it kind of reminds me of, there's a lot of big culture within the Black community whenever it comes to barber shops, hair salons, etc. Like that's the watering hole. That's where you get all of your local gossip. That's where you could just unwind for a little bit and not really have to worry about anything going on outside. You had your friends there, family was sometimes there, and it kind of extended that to the home whenever I used to get my hair braided, because it was one of my friend's mom that knew how to cornrow. So I'd just be watching TV. She's sitting up on the couch. I'm at her feet, and she's sitting there just going to town, braiding my hair and, talking to either my friend or asking me about school. And it was definitely a simpler time. It was a lot. It was very peaceful.
That sounds fantastic, actually.
It
To
does.
me, that sounds super cozy and a safe childhood like that. I'm very happy for you that you got to experience that.
Yeah, thank you. It's crazy to think about where I am now versus where I was, and it's a little bit, I'd say a little bit difficult. It's honestly a lot difficult to feel that here just because of the demographics of my state. You could definitely find it in like certain areas, but it hits different.
Mm-hmm. I can appreciate that. How about you, RJ? What childhood thing instantly feels comforting, or what is something that instantly pulls you back to that cozy comfort childhood feeling?
I think it still goes back to what we talked about earlier about the cinnamon rolls and the hot chocolate, because there's no smell. I mean, there's other smells that you put on your, I don't know, your clothes when you wash your clothes that make you smell good and make you feel better, like they're clean and all that kind of stuff. Like scents of a new car, and I want to say lavender on your clothes. That's kind of what we put on our clothes to when we wash our clothes, or when we have it in our, what's the little thing that you put in there for the diffuser or whatever, when you put the little drops in there or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are kind of things that, I have different smells that make me feel really good. In my studio, I always usually have one going on if I have time to throw the water in there and get a smell in there. I think it's called Thieves. That helps me.
Oh, yes. I
so
love Thieves.
That always brings me feel comfortable. I don't know childhood feel wise, other than those two things. There's a few smells that come to me that bring some crazy feelings that ain't some cozy, that remind me of like childhood that I don't want to smell anymore, like kind of those things. But there's always a teeter totter of the good smells, the bad smells that can bring out some memories. So I honestly, if there's anything that ever brings me to like feel good about anything, it's just those two things for sure.
So
Okay.
on that note too, I'm curious, do you have like a baked goods sort of like scent marker for memory too, or something else?
No, not. I did the baking growing up. It's just, it made everybody happy to eat it. And it made me very happy that watching everybody be happy. So the scent, I'm a scent person. Somebody can walk by me wearing a certain cologne and I instantly get a picture of my dad in my head.
Yeah.
Or there is a Victoria's Secret perfume that I smell and I instantly have flashbacks of hanging out with one of my older sisters. Well, they're all older than me. I'm the youngest, but hanging out at her house and getting ready with her to go places. As for it's just a very warm feeling around my heart is the best way to put it. And that's kind of what cozy is for me, is that warm, joyful feeling. So there was a song growing up. I went to church 3 days a week growing up. We were church people. And it was, I got the joy, joy, joy down in my heart. Like that was like
Yeah.
one of my favorite songs. And I can hear some of those kids' church songs. I instantly go back to, that was such a safe place. We were so happy. Nothing else that was going on mattered. For me, yes, instantly it's a church choir or a praise and worship song. I know it's it's a very different weird one, but for me that pulls me back to the cozy, happy childhood memories that I had. The other one is living in the desert. It's hot, so you keep your windows open all night to let the cool air in so that you don't overwork your air conditioners during the day. And waking up with the sun, there's nothing that compares to a West Coast sunrise. Waking up and just that fresh, earthy smell in the house with that little bit of a chill, like that feeling. And I only get it when I go back home to visit my parents. But that feeling instantly takes me back to happy childhood memories.
I like that.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I like that too. Yeah, the reason why I bring up the baked goods thing is I hear a lot of people it's kind of crazy to realize just how many people don't realize that we as a species are very just sense driven as a whole. We always think whenever we think about intake of information and whatnot, everybody always goes to, sight or touch. But then whenever we actually really think about it, it's all the senses, and smell is such a huge one. And I feel like a lot of people I've ever talked to have always had that lean into like baked goods and stuff. And maybe it's just because I didn't have that in childhood that I'm like, I can't relate. But I always thought that was fascinating.
Well,
For
maybe
sure.
we can take care of that as an adult and make it a younger adult core memory for you that
I
you can
mean,
tell
He is
your
about,
grandkids one
yeah,
day
he-
about
He
it.
is about to have a kid, so I mean, start making those traditions now. Is what I'm saying.
Yes. Yep.
Fair, very
Yep.
fair.
You can give it to the new Fae and they can live through it and tell stories about it.
For sure.
Creating comfort for yourself is not laziness. It's a form of self-care and emotional balance. And it's a huge part of everyday life for everybody. Why do you think comfort matters so much? Do you think people underestimate how important coziness is? And what is one cozy thing listeners should do for themselves this week?
I think coziness is very underrated the way the world is now, with so much technology, so much going on. We're in a I mean, we're all living in the United States, so it might be different around the world that listens to the podcast because we see the analytics. We know who watches, who listens to the podcast. So we appreciate everybody, even all around the world that listens to us. But like, there's people here that work 3 jobs and do all these kind of things just to make a living, and the go at it. They don't take care of themselves. They don't do those moments to be cozy. So I think it's very underrated of how important cozy is. But I think that if we're talking about listeners listening now and you want something to remind yourselves of what cozy is and what to do to bring that back to you, just take a moment and think about what makes you happy, what makes you just feel less going on, less agitated, I should say. Just find that moment. Just take a few moments. I mean, people do yoga, people do meditation, they do box breathing, they do all these different things to make themselves feel a little bit better. Some people even listen to an audio podcast when they're putting their makeup on and do things like that. Like, as long as you're finding those moments to make yourself smile and happy, even through the chaotic world, take that moment. There was a time where my kids were so intense. I mean, they're 10 now, they're intense now, but they just never left us alone, which is fine. I mean, I still love them to death. But sometimes the 2 minutes in the bathroom where it was quiet, where it was like, oh, leave him alone. He's going to the bathroom. Please, I want to take 3 extra minutes because that's where where I want to be quiet for a minute. Those are the moments that you just take a breath and relax and find that moment where you can just appreciate yourself and appreciate life around you, so the rest of it doesn't smother you. That's how I would say it.
I can agree.
Definitely.
Comfort and cozy are, for me, the visual effect of it is like an amber glow around your heart, like that warm feeling of it's just okay. It's good. There's nothing to worry about. And in the harsh, busy world that we live in today, where we're being bombarded with everything that's going on and opinions and hatred towards one thing, it's like it's always there and in our face. And I feel we forget that it is okay to just be happy and be comfortable in what you're doing in a moment.
Facts.
So, yes. I do think it is underestimated. And I almost do feel sometimes it's laughed at because I'm a cozy streamer. I have a cozy corner. I do not play fighter games and all of that stuff. I chat with people. My intention is to make a space where you can just be, and everything else that's going on, it doesn't matter. And it's really important for us to find those things. And if that is, doom scrolling, I mean, we did it one day. We went back to the early 2000s and watched the music videos. Like that, we had an awesome time. My partner, my daughter, and I, introducing her to all of that. And that was such a cozy moment for our family that it set us up for the rest of the week. We had a good week. We connected a little bit more and we're able to get through our week with less stress. So I think it's important that you guys find something that is just joyful. Find something joyful. It doesn't have to be what other people think is joyful. Find something that makes you smile and makes you feel your heart so that you can set yourself up to carry that through the week.
And before Ani gives Ani's answer, there is something that pops up every about 2 weeks for about an hour that can make you feel a little cozy or make you distract yourself. And you found it. It's right here, the Common Tangent.
I like that. I love it. I love it a lot. And very true. I think our little corner of cozy here, I think a lot of people could relate in terms of being able to just unwind from the day and just kind of listen to us go on about different things and the plethora of tangents that we get off on. And that actually rolls into my answer pretty nicely in terms of just breathe. RJ, you mentioned box breathing and the like. I remember something that came up whenever I was a police officer. It was one of the first codes that I had to run because there was a really big accident. As I'm running full lights and sirens, adrenaline's rushing, and my trainer and best friend basically had to remind me to breathe. Like, we need to get there safe and sound as well. You need to breathe. And I kind of took that with me in just different areas of life as a whole. I feel like a lot of us, cozy is relative. Some people, like we talked about earlier, thrive in chaos, and that chaos is their cozy. And for others, it's not. But everybody breathes. And I think taking I'd say even as short as 30 seconds to just breathe, check in with your body to see where you are, like if you're frazzled or, any sort of elevated or whatnot. And it helps with resetting yourself and also just reaffirming what it is that you're trying to accomplish. You're able to kind of approach it with a little bit of a clearer perspective. So for me, that is something that a lot of people don't equate with cozy, is just taking that moment to breathe.
I like it.
That's very good. That's very good. Tell us what your ultimate cozy core setup or comfort ritual is in the comments. We want to know the weirdly specific things that make you feel safe and comfy.
Well, I think after all that conversation, I think it's a great time to look at what that you can do for the future and see what's coming up in your future with the Fae Forecast.
Hello and happy time zone, friends. Welcome to the Fae Forecast, the segment where we consult the oracle cards for a brief glimpse of advice for the times ahead, or I share a little coach wisdom to strive for your most authentic self. I'm your host, Anikailani, your resident Fae incarnate. For those of you that are new, welcome in. And for those of you returning, welcome back. I'm currently using an all-time favorite here of the forecast, Mother Mort's Carnival 1897 Oracle deck. And your card for today's forecast is the amazing Miles Taddy. This card represents new beginnings, having faith in what is to come, improvisation, and believing that the universe has your back. Modern life involves juggling many responsibilities, which can seem often overwhelming. But remember to trust yourself, focus on your task, and not simply follow those who brag they know the way. This card is also a reminder that it is alright to take a break sometimes and not to be so harsh on ourselves when we drop the ball, so to speak. Folks, this card, as it says, is new beginnings and having faith. The idea of so many balls up in the air, we don't really know which one we're catching, but having faith in knowing that we have the ability to continue on. The show must go on, and we have the ability to juggle whatever it is that we've tossed in the air. That said, again, there are going to be times whenever we need a break, and that is okay. It actually reminds me of an article I read not too long ago from the actress Scarlett Johansson, and she basically talked about the idea of work-life balance and how so many people strive for perfection in that they can find the perfect work-life balance. And to, I feel, everybody's surprise, her answer to that question of how do you reach perfect work-life balance is you don't. There is no such thing as perfect work-life balance. There is always something that is going to have some sort of deficit, whether you want it to or not. And we must become okay with this, because the sooner we are able to accept this fact, the sooner it becomes easier for us to truly find what works for us. Folks, if you're juggling a bunch of things right now, have faith that things will continue to get better. Have faith that you know what you're doing. And most importantly, have faith in yourself to know when you should take a break from things. Practice makes perfect. Or rather, practice makes progress. And always know that you are striving for something greater. Once again, my name is Anikailani, and that, my friends, was your Fae Forecast. If you have any questions or wish to have your question answered on the Fae Forecast, feel free to reach out to us here on The Common Tangent. Be gentle to yourselves, and folks, always strive to be authentic. Thank you, and I'll catch you all in the next Fae Forecast.
Welcome everybody to Gas the Press. We are back once again to do some games with our co-hosts, with Anikailani and Solskynn. And in our previous podcasts, we've been doing what's true, what's not true, do these games, fill in the blank, and another Mother's Day kind of game that we did first for Mother's Day, which if you didn't go check that out, go check it out because it turned out really good. And they did very, very well, by the way. We did another game that we're going to bring back today, and I'll explain that as we get there. But first, let's start with what we normally do here. I'm going to give you 3 headlines. 2 are fake and 1 is real. I'm going to give you the topic. I'm going to read you the 3 headlines, and 1 of them is real, 2 of them are fake. So here it is. The topic for today for this game is household pets. Your first headline is world's oldest dog turns 31 after avoiding being put down as a puppy. Headline number 2, dog found alive after being buried in backyard for 2 days. Or number 3, owner throws birthday party for pet hedgehog, entire neighborhood invited, only 8 shown up. Which one is real?
I want the hedgehog one to be real. I want to meet that person.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with the hedgehog too, just because it would be so sweet.
I love that one. If I said that one was wrong and you had to pick the remaining 2, which one do you think would be the correct one?
Oldest dog.
Yes, because I don't want the middle one to be correct.
Okay. So that is, I don't want that one to be correct too. On May 12th, 2023, Bobby, and I want to say this really wrong here, so you guys can correct me if it is. Bobby the Rafario do Alentejo? No. Has been defying the odds for years now. He's celebrating his 31st birthday. Officially recognized by the Guinness World Records as the world's oldest dog, Bobby was born in Portugal and has spent his entire life living with the Costa family in the village of Conqueros. Is that right? Am I close to that? After narrowing escape being put down as a puppy. His age all the more remarkable, given that his breed typically only lives for up to 14 years. It isn't exactly clear why he has managed to live so long, but his owner, I'll leave that name out, attributes a combination of his free roaming lifestyle, healthy eating, and drinking lots of water as contributing factors. So, world's oldest dog turns 31 after avoiding being put down as a puppy, and this was as effective as May 12th, 2023. 31 years. Can you imagine? That's crazy to me.
No, that's an old puppers there.
That's amazing. Especially
Centaurian plus.
Isn't it 7 years usually? Is that what it is usually? They say
yes.
7 human
7
years?
dog years to 1 human year.
So do the math. I have no idea. Math is hard for me.
31 would be 211?
Gee, many Christmas.
217, yeah. 217.
Bicentennial.
Yeah.
He's almost as
The
old
bicentennial dog.
He's almost as old as the country. Let's go. Yeah, that one's pretty good. I love that one, and I had to throw a bad one in there because it was like, could that actually happen? It could actually, but gosh, let's hope that never happens. Let's hope that never happens. All right, so I have newer one. If you remember back a few episodes ago, we did one about cocktails, we did one about crayons, and we did one with Billy Mays, which was pretty popular. I want to do one, and hopefully you guys can remember these cartoons. So 80s cartoons. Some would say that 1980s was one of the best decades for children's cartoons. What I'm going to do is give you 4 obscure cartoons that debuted in the 1980s and one that didn't. Your job is to tell me which 4 were the ones that debuted in the 80s and which one did not. I know it's a little harder because it's a little bit older for those that might not remember all these cartoons. But I'm going to give you 5 total ones. 4 were in the 80s, 1 was in the 90s. So see if we can narrow down. And for those that are listening to the podcast, in the description or in the notes, I should say, or in the comments, I should say, jump in there and see if you can guess which one is the right one that isn't an 80s cartoon as we go through. So I'm going to give you all 5 cartoons. You guys are going to discuss with each other which ones are from the 80s and which one might not be from the 80s, which one is from the 90s. So there's 5 cartoons: Mr. T, Darkwing Duck, Inspector Gadget, Jem and the Holograms, or the Centurions. Which one do you think?
Which one's from the 80s?
There's 4 from the 80s and 1 from the 90s. Which ones can you narrow down which ones are from the 80s and which one, the one answer is from the 90s?
I think Darkwing Duck is from the 90s.
See, I'm between Darkwing Duck and Inspector Gadget.
Do Inspector Gadget. No, I remember watching that really, really young.
Okay, so if I was to give you an answer, I will give you Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget is for sure in the 80s.
Okay.
Explain to me if you remember the other ones and why you think the other ones are in the 80s.
Okay, let's go down the list. We'll say yes or no.
There's Mr. T.
That's 80s.
That's 80s.
Jem and the Holograms.
I don't know that one.
The name sounded familiar, but I don't remember it specifically. I'm pretty sure 80s though.
Okay, and then the oddball one is it's called the Centurions. I had to look it up because I don't remember that one. But then once you saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that one. It's one of those like obscure ones that don't hit, but you remember watching it. So let's go down the list.
I don't think I ever watched it.
We'll have to look it up. But Inspector Gadget, that was 1983.
Okay.
So you said Mr. T was guaranteed the 80s. I'll give you that one, 1983.
Okay.
So there's 2 for sure that are in the 80s. Now we're down to Jem and the Holograms and the Centurions. So Jem and the Holograms, they were like a pop band, female singing band that did adventures and had concerts and things like that. You can see the flashing lights. I can see them in the back of my head.
Hair metal.
Jem and the Holograms was, what's that? Sorry.
I had to look it up because it sounded so familiar and it was starting to bug me. And I do remember seeing this. I was very, very young, mind you. And it's actually funny because I was remembering Josie and the Pussycats, and that's the reason why I remember Jem and the Holograms.
So basically the same thing. Just I think Josie was a little bit later, I think, but Jem and the Holograms was 1985. Now we're down to Darkwing Duck and the Centurions.
Just the name of it, I think the Centurions was 80s.
So we're down to 2. What do you think, Ani? You want to stick with Darkwing Duck, or do you want to change it to the Centurions?
Sticking with Darkwing Duck in the 90s.
I really think Darkwing Duck is 90s.
I specifically remember waking up Saturday mornings and that silly theme song going in the background.
I can sing. I can't sing the Darkwing Duck song, but I can definitely sing the DuckTales song when it's on. I can remember every word. Exactly. Every time. even the new version that came out, I love that new version as well. So if you haven't seen the new version, check that out as well.
I feel so sad you don't remember Darkwing Duck, the "Let's Get Dangerous." No, it was like a rap thing that like a rap breakdown in it too.
Yes, that was definitely 90s. I have no question about it.
I remember the intro. I just don't remember all the words. Like I remember part of it and how he swept the jacket around and looked at the camera all like nostalgic and like had the mood and the glare and all that kind of stuff. I think the good one was I wasn't for sure about the 80s cartoons because obviously we're all on different age brackets and stuff like that. But I would have to say that you guys did a very, very great job because the Centurions was 1986 and Darkwing Duck 1991.
There we go.
Very good on that one. Yes. I was a little worried, but you guys you guys are amazing me on this one. You guys did great on the Mother's Day ones. So if you haven't gone back and listened to that podcast, go listen to that. They did a fantastic job on that one. You guys have been killing it. I need to make some harder ones now. For sure. That was Guess the Press for episode 9. We have a special one coming up for episode 10, and you'll learn why right after Solskynn and the Bright Side.
Hey friends, welcome back to The Bright Side. Today's story is one of those quiet reminders that hope can survive generations. It's about a young man who disappeared during World War II and a family who waited more than 80 years to finally bring him home. In 1943, the world looked very different. The war was raging across oceans and continents, and thousands of young Americans were being sent far away from home. Among them was a young airman serving on a B-25 bomber in the Pacific. He was someone's son, someone's brother, someone who had favorite meals, favorite songs, and dreams for what life would look like after the war. But in November of 1943, his aircraft disappeared. Just like that, he was gone. No return home, no funeral, no final goodbye. And for families during wartime, sometimes the hardest thing wasn't the loss itself. It was not knowing. For years, his family lived with unanswered questions. The military searched, investigated, and eventually classified him as unrecoverable. That word feels so cold, unrecoverable, as if history had simply closed the door. But families rarely stop hoping completely. Even as decades passed, even as generations grew older, the possibility of bringing him home never fully disappeared. Think about how much life happened in those 80 years. Entire generations were born. Technology transformed the world. Neighborhoods changed. People grew old carrying stories about someone they never truly got to bury. And somehow, through all that time, he was still remembered. Being remembered is its own kind of love. Years later, a nonprofit organization dedicated to recovering missing service members began investigating old crash sites from World War II. Their mission was simple, but powerful. Find the missing, bring them home. Using historical records, eyewitness accounts, underwater searches, and modern science, teams revisited places the world had nearly forgotten. Eventually, they located the wreckage believed to be his aircraft. And then came something that would have sounded impossible back in 1943, DNA testing. Scientists compared recovered remains with DNA samples submitted by surviving relatives. Dental records helped them confirm the match. After more than 80 decades, they finally had their answer. He had been found. I can't even imagine the phone call. A family that had carried uncertainty for generations suddenly hearing, "We found him." Not a theory, not a maybe. Him. And this spring, something extraordinary happened. A flag-draped casket arrived home in New York. Family members gathered together to welcome him home. Home. 80 years later, that word still mattered. Some relatives had spent their entire lives hearing stories about him. Others never got the chance to meet the people who originally mourned him. But suddenly, all of those generations were connected by this one moment. One family member called it a miracle. You know, we talk a lot about closure in stories like this, and closure matters. But I think there's something even deeper here. The story is proof that people matter long after headlines fade. He wasn't forgotten, not by his family, not by the people who searched for him, not by the strangers willing to dedicate years of work to bringing someone home. And maybe that's one of the most beautiful parts of being human. We keep looking for each other, even after oceans of time pass. I think stories like this remind us that hope doesn't always move quickly. Sometimes Hope takes decades. Sometimes it survives in old photographs, family stories, or names spoken around the dinner table. And sometimes, against all odds, hope finally gets its answer. So maybe call someone you love. Maybe ask about your family stories. Maybe remember that even small acts of care can echo for longer than we realize. Because 80 years later, one young airman finally made it home. And somewhere out there, I think that younger version of him would be amazed to know people never stopped looking. Thanks for spending this little bright side moment with me today. Take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and I'll see you in the next story. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us this cozy little tangent. I think one of the nicest things about comfort is that it looks different for everyone. Sometimes it's a game, a favorite hoodie, a warm light, background music, a pet curled up nearby, or just hearing familiar voices after a long day. Tiny things can carry so much peace. And honestly, I think we all deserve more of that. More softness, more rest, more moments that make us feel safe and calm, even when everything else feels loud. So this week, take a little extra time for something comforting. Rewatch the show, make the snack, sit under the blanket, text the friend, romanticize the small moments a little bit. And while you're at it, let us know in the comments what your ultimate cozy core comfort ritual is, because we absolutely want to hear them. Thank you again for listening to The Common Tangent. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, and share this episode with your cozy core friends who would absolutely understand the emotional support hoodie conversation. And of course, a huge thank you to Annie and RJ for joining me for this comfy chaos, cozy conversation, and all the tangents along the way. Also, The Common Tangent Episode 10 is going to be live on Twitch June 8th at 7 p.m. Central Time, so make sure you have those alerts turned on. We'll see you in the next tangent. Bye, everyone.